and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the HyperConscious podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. What was our latest episode on, Alan? Let me check.
We talked to David Meltzer on LinkedIn Live.
Oh, that's wrong. That's just wrong. Why perspective matters so much is what.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
Today, for episode number 348, we are going to do a small talks episode on setting up your environment for success.
So the reason we're doing this episode is because I recently moved.
Yes.
So we sold our family home for a great price. Thank you to Matt and his team for making that an awesome transition for us. That said, moving is a whole thing, and it makes you realize, personally, it's made me realize how much my life has been set up for success. I have all the right tools for success in the right places based on my system of success. And so if success comes down to having a well-defined system and how consistently you execute against it, that means that you have to set up your environment to where it's easy to do that. So if you've ever read any books on habits, like James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, or Brendon Burchard's book, High Performance Habits, or any of the other habits books, Indistractable by Nir Eyal, who we interviewed on, do you remember what episode?
No.
This is in the 300s for sure. I think 328, but I could be wrong. But the point is this, all those books talk about setting up your environment for success, even to the extent of, like, in Atomic Habits, he says, if you want to stop watching TV, unplug it, put it in the closet, make it hard to watch TV. So today, Kevin and I want to not only equip you with the knowledge of how important your system of success is and your environment supporting that, but also help you understand little ways and tips and tricks that can really set you up for consistency.
Near was 330.
330. I was close.
You were close.
I was close.
Yeah, I think that, again, there's so much going on now with the pandemic. Like, I'm living with Tara now. And literally the things that I brought here were my desk, my work stuff, like 6 pairs of clothes. I didn't bring a ton of stuff, but
Which is why you see Kevin in the same shirt every other
you're going to
episode.
see the same shirts. Like, it is what it is. I can't be changing shirts every episode now because I don't have all of my wardrobe. Early, hook your boy up. So you have to, I think it's what I've been talking to my clients about a lot is taking your growth seriously in terms of, like, if you are trying to, like, we could go to a business. How serious are you about the results? How consistent are you? How committed are you? And that's what this is. Like, if you're focused on drinking more water, your water should be near you, right? I would say that is commitment. It's not how much do you want the goal? How committed are you to the goal? Right. So your environment, especially if you spend a large amount of time in that's going to dictate whether or not you're successful. Like, It doesn't matter. Okay, so say you do like 3 hours of work on Saturday in the office when nobody's home, and that's when you get the best work done. That's only 3 hours a week versus making sure that your environment is set up for success every single day. And that can be very difficult for people right now who have never worked from home,
right?
Who are working with somebody in the same room. They might be distracting them. Maybe the other person isn't working. It's so important, and you almost don't know how important it is until you see the other way.
Exactly. And you don't see the other way unless you've consistently and sustainably designed your environment for success. And then you go back. That's why this move is that's actually why we're doing this episode, is I realized, like, oh my goodness, like, I spent years designing a specific environment to support my success. And now that I've been completely removed from that environment and put into another one, I woke up this morning completely overwhelmed of, like, I don't have anything in the right places. This is completely a new place. And if you're on YouTube right now, you can see the backdrop is set up nice, but the rest of it is not yet. And it just has been very stressful. So there are so many different systems that we've put in place in our environment. One simple one we talked about in the preamble was I brush my teeth in the shower. So if having a pearly white smile is important to you, why not stack it on a habit you already do? So I have my mouthwash, I have my floss and my toothpaste and my toothbrush in the shower. And even at Emilia's place, we have my toothpaste and my toothbrush in her shower. So it's just an automatic thing that I do. It's a habit. And so that's one little example of stacking something you want to do in a place with something you already are doing.
Yeah. And it also, it lowers the amount of effort it takes. That's the whole other thing about it. Like, we were just talking before this about getting our studio.
Yes.
We're going to make moves on our studio. A couple of reasons. Number one, this stuff is always set up.
Yeah.
If Alan and I walk into the studio, you flick the lights on, you turn the mixer on, you turn the camera on, you're good to go.
Ready to rock.
And it just eliminates a lot of the issues, the excuses, the misses. Like, that doesn't happen as much. Right. So that's a whole nother thing about, I think the biggest takeaway for me for this episode is the environment you spend the most time in. If it's not conducive to your success, you're leaving a ton on the table. And what would it actually take for you to like transfer it to something that is a successful environment? So we talked about this in the preamble. If you're at home right now working and you're with a significant other, maybe they're not working, or maybe they're working from home too, and they're constantly trying to get your attention.
Right.
That might be a struggle for you. We're having the conversation of like, hey, when I get up and I'm going to the bathroom, I'd love to stop in for a kiss and a hug and see how you're doing, versus, you coming over to me all the time. Like, Taryn and I have like a routine now. In the morning, when she gets out of bed, she comes over and sits on my lap. Like, every morning. It's amazing. It's the best thing in the world. And we talk about our intentions for each other for the day. And then every time I get up and I'm going to the bathroom, I'll stop and like give her a kiss or give her a hug, or I'll say like, I love you. It's just, but she doesn't she knows when I'm working, I'm working. I know when she's on a call, I can't, I'm not going to go see her. Right. So I think it depends on, I think with a lot of people right now, you have to communicate that, just so you know, like, this is my current work environment. You got to pretend like I'm at the office.
I started doing jam sessions, and I don't know if you do them or not, but we both have systems of success, and we've talked a lot about them openly on the podcast and on the masterminds. And a lot of our coaching is helping our clients design a system of success and an environment for success. So one of the things that I do is jam sessions. And so my goal is 3 a day. On Saturday, I was at Emilia's place all day, and I got 4 full hour-and-a-half jam sessions in. For everyone listening right now, a jam session, I set a timer. I'm a little crazy. It is what it is. I set a timer for 90 minutes. It can be on my laptop, or I have little timers I carry around. There's 2 of them. I have one in my bag, and I have one with me here. Now, imagine how much you could get done if you legitimately took, what's an hour-and-a-half times 4? That's 6 hours. If you worked only 6 hours a day, I'm telling you right now, try this for a week. It will literally blow your mind. Imagine sitting at a desk by yourself, in front of your laptop, in front of your phone, with all of your tools in front of you, and spending an hour-and-a-half 4 times a day only focused on your most important work, where you refuse to get distracted. You will be mind blown at how much work you can get done. I had an 83% day, I believe, on Saturday, or no, like a 76% day actually. While I was at Emilia's place, we got to play in the sun with little Tucker. We went out and we talked to her sister. We had great conversations, because in between each jam session, I wrote that whole article about the 10 things I learned about from David Meltzer. That would not have been possible if I didn't have 4 full hours and a half with coffee, with all my tools in front of me, with good internet. You're actually going to get more freedom. It's going to buy you more freedom, because when you're productive in less time, you're going to be able to enjoy your life at a far greater level.
Yeah. Again, working smarter, not harder.
Right.
Is what it is. Like, dude, I've been playing Call of Duty fairly often.
Right.
But like today, I played a lot today, honestly. But I also got my stuff done.
Right.
Like, my morning is the biggest jam session for me. I get up at 5:30. Taryn usually gets up at like 7. So I have an hour and a half of silence where I do my meditation, I do my foam rolling, I do my listening to audiobooks, I do my journaling. Like, I hammer all of that stuff out in the morning. And I find that, and that's the other thing too, your environment, what can you do to alter it? So if you have kids and your kids get up at 8 a.m. and when they get up, it's just a madhouse. Okay, it's time for you to get up at 6 and get some stuff done.
Right.
That's the other thing too. Like, make sure that you're controlling different layers of your environment. There's a
Dude.
reason I like getting up early, because I can get stuff done before anybody else has pulls on my attention. Nobody's texting me at 5 a.m.
Right.
Well, some
Dude,
people, Jenna does.
right.
She's
So,
up earlier than me.
and people with time difference as well. But okay, if you want to read more books, if you're on YouTube right now, you can see I have my bookshelf behind me. Trigger, Behavior, Reward. Charles Duhigg wrote a great book called The Power of Habit. That's what we're talking about here. That's a trigger. Every single time I have my books right here. If you want to read more, put the book. I take the book. I did this last night. I wanted to read Daniel Lieberman, The Story of the Human Body. I was on a virtual check-in with Emilia, and I showed her the book, and I said, this is the book I'm going to read tonight. What did I do? I put it right next to my pillow.
Yeah.
So that before I go to bed, I'm going to open it up. And yeah, maybe I fell asleep with it on my chest. But the point is if you want to read more, you have to put the book, the trigger, near where you spend your time. So what Kevin was saying is that there's the 80-20 rule. 80% of our time is spent in 20% of our homes. And it's probably even more now that we're in quarantine. Is that 20% set up for success? Do you have an office? Do you have a podcast studio? Do you have a bedroom that is set up where you have books and you have your personal development near it? Do you have a closet with all the things that you need? So for example, the light behind me is literally, as soon as I'm done with this episode, I'm going to take the light down and I'm going to put it in my closet. And it's still plugged in because the plug is right next to the closet, so that next time I record or do a coaching call, I'm ready to rock. But that's all designed. It needs to be super intentional, which we're doing another episode on intentionality for the coming Monday as well.
Yes. Oh, that's gonna be a good one. Yeah, I just, now more than ever, I think that it's so easy for your environment to get jeffed.
Right.
So like you kind of have to you have to be the boss. And I think this is why a lot of people are struggling to work from home a little bit.
Right.
Not only has their workload probably increased or switched, but I mean, dude, it took me a while to learn like, oh, you are the boss here. So if you don't do something, that's on you. And like, there's nobody looking down my neck. Nobody knows. Like, you have no idea whether or not I do something. You have no idea. Nobody.
No, I have a feeling.
Well, if the episode doesn't go up, you'll know.
Exactly, then I'll know.
But I think that for many people, part of setting your environment up for success is also understanding what the success is you're looking for.
And I think it's key to understand that like more structure is actually going to free up your life. I mean, it's a good thing. It seems overwhelming at first, but it's going to make your life a million times better. Here's the thing. You can always go back. Just try it. Try setting your environment up little by little. Like right now you have your system of success right next to you, right?
Oh yeah.
I have my notebook right here. I've got a whiteboard behind me, right? This is all well designed. I have 3 books that are always in my backpack or on my person. And by the way, my backpack and my gym bag, I never leave here without it. Why? Because if I go to Emilia's place, I have all my essentials. In my backpack, I have a timer. I have a microphone. I have this webcam. I have my laptop. I have a mouse. I've got my supplements. I've got my notebook. I've got my system of success. I've got my 3 books that I always have on my person. And I have earplugs. I mean, when we travel, we have all the essentials. And in the car, I have all of the other equipment that I might need, like mics and this, in case I need to podcast from her place or whatever. But I think that, imagine someone trying to run a business that didn't have good equipment, that didn't have an office building with the right tools in the right places, that didn't have a bathroom nearby. Imagine a business that didn't have good internet connection. That business is not going to win. Human beings are their own business in a sense. And your profitability in your life is going to be a byproduct of your productivity.
Well, even more than that, or on a different level, and maybe people resonate or understand this a little bit more. They might not have businesses. Imagine trying to take the most important test of your life with people doing construction outside. There's a reason when you have an important test, it's in a quiet hall somewhere or a quiet room, right? And like, there's a reason.
The SATs, you're not allowed to talk.
There's a reason. Like, they're creating an environment for you to succeed. I bet money that if you were in the same room with the same questions, the same people, the same time limit, and there was a construction zone outside and people were jackhammering and
dude.
You know, beep, beep, all that. Like, I bet you the scores would be lower because it's not a great environment for focus and learning and remembering and solving, you know, math problems, whatever it is.
Solving challenging problems.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, okay, maybe today isn't the most important test you've ever taken, but it kind of is. Every day it adds up. It adds up over time. And if you're leaving 1%, like, you know, we talk about 1%, if you can grow 1% every day.
Right.
But it also is the opposite. If you're leaving 1% on the table every day, that adds up too.
Right.
Like, you know, I think that people don't always realize that negatives compound too. Negatives can be exponential as well, not just positives.
And the thing is you don't see the downside until later, usually.
Right. Just like you don't see the upside right away.
Right. If you slack off for a couple days, you'll never really know what that did to your long-term outcomes, your long-term success. Like, imagine treating your girlfriend or boyfriend like crap for a couple days and not paying any attention to them. You don't know what that's really doing until maybe one day you get divorced and you don't realize that you started to slip and never really caught and that's why we have check-ins and things like that. Yeah.
Tara and I were talking about this last night. She asked me, what do you think we could do to make our relationship better? And I said, interesting. That's a good question. I said, I think we should do mini check-ins every day. You don't jump on the scale once a week. You jump on the scale every day, right? So we're going to try that and see how that goes.
Very, very cool.
So go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure we got through some stuff that we wrote on the whiteboard. I got a whiteboard behind me, but I took a picture of it as well. Setting up your environment for success. Moving was really challenging. The habit loop, we went through that. The triggers that you want. So set up your life so the triggers you want are convenient and obvious, and the triggers you don't want are
hidden
away from you and hidden. So for example, if you want to stop watching Netflix, make it hard to watch Netflix. Take it off your computer, take it off your TV, take it off your phone. Water bottles and journal near your person. Be honest with the people around you. We talked about that. Distractions are the kryptonite. And then Kev, your takeaway was every little thing moves the needle.
Yeah. I mean, you could say like, well, I'm doing like a really, really good job. I feel like I'm very successful for, you know, the current state of things. Okay. My question would be, is there a way for you to improve your environment a little bit?
Right.
Just a little bit. Like, again, I'm lucky because Taryn's so supportive. Like, I have a giant light behind me that's like up against the ceiling and the wall. Like, I don't have to move any of this. She said like, no, just leave it there. It's fine. When it's time to go, I hammer this light on. I got my monitor behind me. So like my desk is set up. I have all of my client notebooks below me in the drawer. Like, I have everything I need. I don't have to leave this desk at all, unless I got to pee and then I got to go to the bathroom. But maybe I'll create something where that's not an issue.
You're gonna end up having a seat with like a porta pot in it. Kevin, I'm set up for success. But anything, I've got my vision board behind me that these little things matter a lot.
For sure. All right. So
10-second blips.
10-second blips. Every little thing moves the needle.
Every little thing moves the needle. So my 10-second blip is a 15-second blip. And we talked about it before this episode. James Clear says you will not rise to the level of your ambition. You will actually fall to the level of your systems. But your systems will only be executed as consistently as you've set up your environment for success. So set up your environment for success, set up your systems for success, and you'll have a successful life.
If you're trying to get more success, go in the show notes, and I have a link to both of my courses. One is the HyperConscious Mindset program on what took me from suicidal to thriving. Some would say living my dreams over the course of 3 years. And the other one is from zero to podcast. It'll tell you everything that you need to know to finally start that podcast. Now is a great time to do it. And I'm actually getting a lot of new clients, which is awesome. But I'm not able to coach everybody because there's only so much time in the day. And that's why I created that program. 20% off. The code is in the bio.
Guys and girls, if you've seen Kevin change his life throughout this journey and his attitude, everything has changed, his optimism, his belief in himself, like those courses is how he did it.
Yes.
So
thank you.
Go check those out. Absolutely, brother. This is not fake. This is real. Go back and listen to episode 1 and see what Kevin was like then versus now.
Yeah.
It's a drastic change. This is not woo-woo. This is the real deal. Speaking of, one more thing. If you want to get around more like-minded people and connect with me, Kevin, and other people like us, tonight at 6 p.m., well,
so Mondays at 6 p.m.
Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a mastermind where we're going to pick a theme. We're going to go over intentions for the previous week and set intentions for the next week to help you stay accountable and follow through. But we're also going to pick a theme and do sort of like a live training. Let Kevin or myself know, reach out to us, Amy, Tiffany, me, or Kevin on Instagram or any other social media platform for the meeting ID, the password, and the link, and meet us 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday night.
Bada bing, bada boom. All right. What are we doing for Scratching the Surface?
Scratching the Surface is going to be on the 5 buckets.
The 5 buckets.
And how to make sure your associations are also setting you up for success.
Yes, I have been doing a lot of coaching for mindset and for business as well, early entrepreneurs. And one of the things that I'm finding out pretty quickly is most people do not have a lot of growth-minded individuals in their life. So we're going to talk about that and how to get around people like that and the difference that it makes. Like our lives have changed dramatically since we started spending time with different people. It's crazy.
I had someone reach out on Instagram and then we'll go, he said, wait, David Meltzer coaches you? And he's like, just once or like regularly? And I'm like, regularly. He's like, well, one-on-one? I was like, well, yeah, we're very blessed. It's changed our life more than anything. He was kind of blown away by that. He's like, how did you make that happen? I said, honestly, just adding value to his life and showing up consistently, asking good questions, man. It wasn't hard. Dude, we get nervous before every call. Every single call. Dude, me too, especially the LinkedIn Live. We're going right after
Nicki Minaj's manager or something?
Yeah, Nicki Minaj and T.I.'s business manager. Up next, Jeff and Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
You know, but we showed up, man, and we made it happen. So,
all right. We hope you enjoyed this. I challenge you to set your environment up for success, and we will talk to you on Friday.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.